So I started this project 6 months ago. I had really big ambitions for what this project could be, and I still do, but I think it's time to finish this so it's not just sitting on my shelf. Well, I did it again. I filmed that video 3 months ago explaining how I was going to finally finish this project, but as you can see, I've made very little progress. So now, for real, I'm going to finish it and explain why it took so long and why it's been so difficult. Let's go back to the past. A little farther. A little farther. There we go.
A long, long time ago, there was a dope wizard who traveled the world selling potions and magical remedies. As his fortune grew, so too did his paranoia. In order to sleep more soundly, he bound a gargoyle to his caravan to work as an ever-vigilant watchdog. Competing mages started to draw customers away, so the dope wizard caged a harpy using her song to draw the crowds back to his shop. While traveling a perilous mountain pass, his caravan got stuck in the snow. Trapped like a spider in a web, he was attacked by a mighty troll. Fighting for his life, the wizard defeated the troll. However, instead of killing the beast, he saw the troll's potential as a steed, able to traverse any terrain. So, he abandoned his horse and bound his caravan to the troll's back. From then on, the wizard became obsessed with magical creatures, his humble beginnings buried beneath his ever-expanding homestead. As his castle grew more twisted and crooked, so too did his mind. The troll, bearing the weight of the wizard's madness, awaited his chance to get revenge on his master.
The concept for this project was to make a wizard's castle mounted on the back of a troll. But I, like the troll, began to feel the crushing weight of that idea. I made one tower and then felt like maybe I bit off a bit more than I could chew. It just felt impossible to pull off this idea between my part-time job and commission painting, so I put the unfinished project on a shelf and I left it until I felt like I was ready.
How long has it been? I intended to get back to it since when? You look at your clock and then you turn the clock into sand. Will I ever finish? Will I ever complete my lifespan? What's happened to me? I have a lot of things to do. If I want to, I'll do it. Maybe I'll start tomorrow.
We all have a mad wizard in our heads telling us not to finish things, but I hate unfinished projects. And there was an obvious solution to this problem. Scale back the project before it was a castle, a traveling wizard on the back of a troll. That's something I could accomplish. So I started working on it again. And then I left it for 3 more months. It would be cool if I could just pick up an old dead project and finish it then and there, but sometimes it's not that easy. My mind is constantly swirling with new ideas and sometimes it's hard to stay on track. Sometimes when you're working on something, it's not about the love of making. Sometimes it's just about finishing, so I started again with that goal in mind. As I started putting it all together, I realized how much work I'd put into it already. I sculpted this little harpy and gargoyle off camera. I even had big plans to make these chimera-themed corbels for the castle. I ended up taking the dragon's head that I sculpted for the corbels and turned it into a hanger for the harpy's cage. And every time I sculpted one of these things, I used the leftover milliput and added details to the caravan. Instead of saving all of these details for a bigger project, I added them to the caravan, and it started to look really cool. And more importantly, I started to have fun again. Working on something I started almost a year ago felt like kit bashing someone else's work. I felt like I was collaborating with a past version of myself, which is really cool. If you have any unfinished projects that haunt your dreams, I recommend trying to force yourself to work on them again. You might just find a new love for the project. Or you might give up for a couple more months. As the model began to really take shape, I fell into another curse of making stuff. I wanted to keep adding to it. I put so much time, almost a year's worth of work into this project, and now I wanted it to be perfect. But the goal was not a perfect project, it was to finish this project, so I called it done and I primed it. Mini painting has been an enemy of mine ever since I started diving into the hobby. I'm slow and I'm never as good as I want to be. This project has been one big challenge after another, so I figured why not challenge myself more? Why not try and do the best paint job I've ever done? So I started by doing something I never do. I planned out my color scheme. I did this digitally and then roughed out the colors in craft paint to make sure that I was happy with them. Despite having a degree in painting, I am terrible at choosing colors. Since I struggle with color, I took inspiration from one of my favorite fantasy illustrators, Paul Bonner. Specifically, this piece. I roughly followed that color scheme, roughly using techniques I saw Craft World Studio use on Instagram. And the results were incredible. This is by far the best paint job I've ever done. I was so happy with how it was looking. Well, except for one thing. This roof. Okay, I know what you're thinking. No, this is not a trap. No, I'm not putting off finishing this project. I had to do this. It was totally worth it. Every little detail makes a difference. Every detail matters. Right? I found this Reaper wizard at my local game store and absolutely fell in love with it. I painted it on a call with some friends with no intention of using it for anything, but I feel like it was the missing touch to this project. Sometimes I get so swept up in a project I forget what this hobby's about. Letting games inspire you to make art, hanging out with friends, you know, having fun. My ambition sometimes gets the better of me and I end up stressed out when I should be enjoying myself. We're all just playing with toys at the end of the day. I was having so much fun painting that I kind of just wanted to keep painting forever. Sometimes working on a project feels like traversing difficult terrain. As soon as you get some momentum, you fall into another trap. But my hero's journey is not going to end in a trap. The journey that started with a dollar store ape almost a year ago will end in the best thing I've ever made. I'm going to find a way out of this terrain. Speaking of terrain, wouldn't it be cool if this model had some terrain to stand on? No, I'm not putting off finishing the project. I just want it to have a satisfying ending. Fuck, I dropped it. Is there a lesson to be learned here? Is this a metaphor for my own self-destructive nature? I don't know. Just finish your damn projects. Thank you so much to my patrons who continue to support me through this dry patch. I promise this time for real, I'm going to make more videos. I didn't really have a game in mind when I built this model, but it turns out as I was working on this model, my friends Trent, Bill, and Elle were working on a game that this model is perfect for. The game is called Hex 28. It's a variant rule set of Bill's game Mech 28 that involves building walking magical houses. I got to play Mech 28 at Adepticon, and I'm so excited to play this new version of the game with this model. I'm really just getting started in this hobby. I may not be the most powerful or the most mad, but I defeated this project. If you want to see me make the full castle, comment down below. Maybe I leveled up enough during this project to tackle it. Maybe not right away though. It feels so good to have finally conquered my pile of shame. Well, I did it again. Time to start an army. Subscribe and stay tuned, because next time I'm going to be making the most whimsical Warhammer army on YouTube. Bye!